Yo, Sneak This Podcast. This is an episode. I will be recording an episode this week. I just wanted to get a video out real quick of the unboxing of our newest hat. I'll be recording another closet episode tomorrow. Have a special guest. Hopefully that works out. I don't like to pre-promote, due to any technical difficulties or change in schedule. But it's somebody we've had on before, and you guys loved. He's our second most downloaded episode on all podcast platforms. So can't wait for have that conversation with him. Just to chop it up. Nothing, too special. Um, but let me start off by saying that I made a mistake. Um, the hats are sold out. There are absolutely no more hats. I ordered more hats than I did for the first one, which is the one I'm wearing now. But I just didn't anticipate it. It took me a long time to finally make the hat that I'm wearing now because I just never wanted to put out anything of less quality than I would purchase myself. I wanted it to mean something, and this was like our first one, Dodger colors, and it was kind of like a test run, and I had only made so many. So I made like a little bit more of this one, and I'll admit my initial thoughts were I didn't know if anybody would buy another hat. I don't know. I underestimate, how many people support our show. And I know through messages and, obviously through numbers and stuff of how good our show is. But you just never really know when I have really high anxiety and I worry about stuff like that. And it's part of being a creator, it's just putting yourself out there. And sometimes you don't know how much people appreciate what you do, and then when you finally put yourself out there, it's overwhelming. I will say I'm not going to do a pre-order for this one, and I'm gonna say I'm not doing a pre-order for this one only because we talk about this a lot in the sneaker community, and it's about feeling special when you have sneakers and feeling special when you get something. And I apologize to those who weren't able to get them, but on one of the past episodes, like episode 180, I don't know what it was, I had said, hey, if you want one, go ahead and DM me, and I'll just add you to the list to be messaged when they come in. I didn't anticipate as many people doing so. Um, so I thank you guys very much, and I appreciate it. But I do want to discuss why this hat is special to us. Another hat is already in the works. It's not being made yet, but I've already thought about the colors and what I want to do with it. I think I might do another snapback with a dad hat for the summer, and a snapback at the same time. Um, so look for those maybe sometime July, possibly. It depends. But this will be the only time I do an unboxing for one of our hats until we get to episode 300. I wanted to do one for this because this is our 200th episode. I don't want to get too in depth about the podcast and stuff like that until me and George have the opportunity to do another episode together, because George is a major part of this podcast, and he has his supporters and I have mine, and me and George make the absolute perfect team for a podcast, especially with something we've been doing for so many years collectively. And me and George are really good friends. So it's only proper that me and George make sure 200 is done together. But I did want to make these hats a little bit more special, and I want to talk about the reasoning behind the colors and why I chose them. And you know what? I'm a podcaster. I'm a creator, so I consciously, I'm a thinker. I have to think about every single thing I do and the notes that I take. Like, I might be the only person that takes notes to pick colors and a design and a theme for a hat. Um, but I did so, and I hope you enjoy it and like it. For those, sorry, dropped my opener. For those who are, I don't want to say fortunate enough to get one, but those who got one. But I do want to explain that everything that comes in the box, because I know a few people have already gotten them in the mail. Happened a lot faster than I expected. Um, but yeah, so every hat won't be done this way. This was just this hat because it's 200 to us, and I'm gonna just kind of go through it and explain why. You know, we're not a brand, so us choosing stuff and colors and things like that is a little bit different than like a brand. Like, hey, let's make a red one, let's make a white one, let's make a blue one. I wanted to make sure that every time we meet a specific milestone that means a lot to us, that we put some supreme effort in our hats and anything that our listeners can appreciate. And I do not do unboxings. This is my first unboxing ever. And like I said, I appreciate those. Shout out to RJ. I appreciate those who do really good unboxings and sneaker reviews. They know how to set the camera up and move and be in front of the camera and have it at the right height and angle. I have no idea if you can even see the top of my head or my face. I have no idea. I set the camera up. I probably need a newer camera so I can see that on the screen, but that's neither here nor there. Real quick, the money that goes into these hats goes straight back into making more hats and in the studio time. Me and George don't take money from this and buy sneakers or do anything like that. I want you to know that. The money is to continue to have a free show, continue to have a free show and put out, quality hats, you know, uh, periodically. So, unboxing the hat. I don't know why I feel nervous. I'm not a nervous person. But it's important to me. 200 episodes is not easy talking about sneakers. So before I get to some of the extras that come into it, I'm gonna take the hat out and show it. So each hat, George got on me about the hat just being in the box last time, but it was our first hat. It was a hat. So I did wrap them, kind of, in a little bit of tissue paper. Hopefully you can see the hat on camera. But um, so here it is. It's a natural color with the black background and the red chenille as varsity font. Me and George talk about sports a lot, so we always want to use varsity letters, sort of like when you're high school, get the varsity letterman jacket. With the black bill, the black breathable holes, the black top, whatever that's always called. Clearly, you see the tags, which I'm going to explain, and I don't know if you can see on camera. It's a hologram. The light might be reflected on it, but it's our logo right here on the bill in the sticker. Um, the green under, I love green under bills. Green, gray, same color as the top, fine, but I love green under bills. It's retro. So I want to talk about the hat just with general for within itself. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go through the extras that come with. So I did include a letter that I typed up. It's sort of random. I'm not gonna read it right here. That's for those who got it. But I'm gonna take everything out. I did include another hologram sticker. If you can see it, the light's probably shining on it crazy, but hopefully you can see that. Um, take the pages out. So I did write a letter. I'm not gonna read it. That's for those who got the hat. But I wrote a letter. Just kind of discussing, us a little bit, more random thoughts. Um, and then I included a 2 page of every single guest we've had on the podcast. I believe this is every single guest. I really hope I didn't miss anybody. But just every single guest, along with what episode that they were on. So those who are new listeners or those who are listeners that kind of jumped in the middle who might have missed previous guests, this has every single one. You can take a look at it when you get your hat, and you can see each episode that they were on, and you can go back to that episode and check it out. It's 2 pages. We've had a lot of guests. We've had over 50 plus guests in 200 episodes, and we've talked to a few people. And we talked to anybody from the homies to people who were very influential in the sneaker community. I'm telling you, there are some good names on here, some people to get to know, and hear their story and hear us, interview them. The next page, so which I'm going to talk about. So the next page is basically like my notes. I said I'm a thinker, I'm a writer. My wife buys me a lot of notebooks because I just fly through them. I like to write. I like to take notes old school. I don't like iPads. I don't like that stuff. But this is a bunch of scribble, but I understand it. These are like the notes that I put my ideas down on to show the hats. My wife thought it'd be a good idea to include this so you guys can see where it originated, my thought process. You clearly won't be able to read any of this, but I can understand it. But I wanted to recreate my notes on other pages that have pictures and my inspirations behind the hat. So the next pages are basically pictures used as the background and my notes on top of it. And you guys should be able to read these more legible, but it's my notes on the process of the hat, my thought process on the hat, why I chose certain colors, why I chose the hat, inspirations behind it. There's 3 pages. Um, so you'll be able to take a look at that. I wanted to get this out as soon as possible because Last Dance documentary came out, and you have noticed the hat is Bulls colors. Bulls influenced the hat in a way, but it wasn't because of Last Dance. Um, but though in a way it's kind of tying in perfectly. And then the last page is, ways to make it special. How I wanted to make it special and make it more unique for anybody who was able to get one. So I'm going to talk about those reasons in the hat real quick. So uh, the main reason why a lot of people always ask, yo, when are you going to do a fitted? And I really thought about doing a fitted hat. Um, I really wanted to do a fitted hat. But fitted hats to me and George are classic. We talk about stories and stuff. California, we talk about retro, we talk about stuff like that all the time. And a fitted hat, I love it. But the snapback, I was so glad when the snapback made a real big comeback in urban streetwear culture community. It's not just urban, but you know what I when it became back popular. I had started to hate snapbacks for a while when people on Craigslist were using snapbacks and G-Shocks as currency to try to get sneakers from you. But that's another podcast for another day, which we've talked about way earlier in our podcast. Um, but the snapback, you have to understand how important the snapback is and why it means a lot to me. When I look at the snapback, I think of California. I think of Ice Cube. Um, it makes me think back to when John Singleton, which I have a picture on the paper, John Singleton and Ice Cube were on Oprah. And this is the 90s. And, we loved Cube and NWA and stuff, but I remember watching Oprah with my mom and John Singletary and Ice Cube wearing the snapback. Their snapbacks, East LA, I think a White Sox one, a white natural White Sox one on the Oprah show. I remember my mom being so mad that they were wearing their hats on the show. She thought they should take their hats off, and why. Now this is a mom, a very good mom, a black mom in California trying to raise a black son to be a man and not fall into the streets. Um, so it was about a respect thing. Um, so with that being said, I just remember that feeling of thinking how cool they were while seeing them on there. Out, out. I'm sorry. Go to mommy. That was my daughter. I'm home. Um, so I remember my mom being so mad about them wearing their hats in the studio while talking to Oprah. Oprah was a big, and then the home was a big figure in the home, daytime talk. So it was like, okay, I just remember growing up in that scene. I remember Ice Cube, Boys in the Hood. I remember Boys in the Hood with the snapbacks, and a lot of people back when we were talking. It made me think about when Dare used to come to school. And I remember doing this skit with Dare, and we were young, and we had the starter jackets, the big black starter jackets. We had Bulls, Hornets, Hoyas, LA Kings. And I remember they wanted like each group to do a skit. And I remember we were like, oh, let's put on all of our starter jackets because starter jackets was like thug, like trouble. But I never viewed a lot of the clothes as what people thought was trouble. I always thought it was the hat. It was a way that people wore the hat. I wear my hat like this to the front, like that forward, because of Ice Cube, because of LA, because of California. There was nothing like going to visit my cousin in Compton and somebody driving by. Woo! Let me tell you something. You see a group of cats driving by with their hats tipped, staring at you all at the same time, made you feel a type of way. They would be sitting in a car. You didn't see what type of clothes they had on. You might not even see what color clothes they're wearing, how baggy they were. You didn't see nothing. All you saw was this tip hat forward, looking at you a certain way. And this is California. Letters meant everything. You wear a S in the wrong neighborhood, you could be in trouble. You wear this in the wrong neighborhood, you could be in trouble. Um, but that's what I remember growing up. Me and George both love California, and we're both from California, and it's a big part of that process. I remember Boys in the Hood when Q was wearing like the Detroit hat, the D on it for Doughboy. The hat stood out. I remember when he shot Homeboy in the parking lot that killed, that was ahead of the other gang or whatever. That was, part of shooting Ricky. Shooting Ricky. The guy hanging out the car with the shotgun. Ricky! I remember the red car and I remember the snapback. I remember the snapback being backwards, the red snapback, seeing right here. It's classic with the starter logo right there. That's what I remember. That's why I think I will always do a snapback. Another thing with the snapback was this is back with braids. This is back when baseball players had afros. This is back when like you changed your hairstyle. The snapback would help you. You can't grow your hair out with a fitted. You could wear a 7 3/8, but you decide to grow your hair out a bit. That 7 3/8 gets snug. Snapback, you just adjust it and it sits right on top. Cube with the afro hanging out the back. That's my hair like that growing out now. And this isn't quarantine. I was growing my hair out prior to being inside the house, but that's a part of it to me. So just for everybody who listens to this podcast and likes us when we make hats, I think I will always do a snapback. The snapback just means a lot more and it's more universal to me than a fitted. Maybe one day I'll do a fitted, but it would be like a 12 run, a one of every size. I don't even know. That sounds ridiculous, but who knows? Um, but yeah, Ice Cube. I remember the classic picture of Tupac wearing the White Sox backward, Poetic Justice. A lot of those hood movies, California retros. Um, that's what it makes me think of. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I did a snapback again. That was very important to me. Let's talk about the colors. The colors. So when I do the colors, I do keep in mind teams. I don't want to necessarily copy a team's color. But when you're coming up with a lot of different colorways and stuff like that for hats, even sneakers and stuff like that, it's really hard, clothes, whatever. It's really hard to avoid color combinations that haven't been done before. That's why Yeezy 1, Yeezy 2s are are special. Not because of the shoe, but because of the colors. We saw a combination of colors we had never seen before. You see that solar red with a glow in the dark with black and a little gray. That's Yeezy. Like that's forever considered a Yeezy. You can't put that color combination on nothing without anything considering a Yeezy thing. So it's really hard to come up with new colorway combinations for stuff like that, even for a hat. And I went through the entire gauntlet. And, I thought about the hat color and what to do. And I was really set on this natural with the black bill. I had sent it to George for him. And he was kind of for it, but not really. He really kind of thought black and red. And I did too for the same thing. But I didn't want to do black or red yet. I feel like I needed to save those in order to make them look better. I don't want to make a red hat and throw black logo on it, or make a red hat and throw white on it. Like, not just that. It has to have one more thing to make it a little bit different or better to me, which I don't even know if it's possible. You only have so many parameters you can work in when you work with specific companies that do your products and stuff. Um, but I'm able to make it work. So the first thing that I did, which you'll be able to see on the notes and stuff that I provide with it, is I wrote down winners. I look at 200 episodes. When we did 100 episodes, it felt like a championship. It snuck up on us, and we didn't have a product out yet. And I wish I would have put the hat out then, but my high anxiety wouldn't let me get the product out fast enough without feeling 100% confident on it. That felt like the first championship. 200 episodes about talking about sneakers. You have no idea how many sneaker podcasts, YouTube channels, conversations, etc. have folded in our block of time we've been on here. There were so many that folded before we even got started. This is very special to us. This is a lot of talking. Like it really is. And what makes it even more special was that even in a time like this, us being quarantined and not being able to go to the studio, I've set myself up to make sure that George and I's show continues. So we make sure we provide to listeners out there during this time. So then when we get back to the studio, we'll be back stronger than ever. I can't wait for me and George to get back into the studio. Ain't no telling how that episode might go. Um, but that's what makes me excited. So I made a list of teams, and I only wrote a list of teams that are winners. I did include some teams like the Suns and stuff like that because those are our home teams here in Arizona, Diamondbacks in Arizona. But I really don't want to use those colorways just yet. I want to save those for something else. But I wrote down teams: Patriot, Spurs, Celtic, Lakers. I'm kind of glad I didn't do Lakers because this was all done. These were done in my possession before the passing of Kobe, and I'm glad I didn't do Lakers. And I remember George had said, "Oh, next time we're doing Lakers colors," and I thought about it, and I don't want to do that because I don't want it to be like you guys are copying because of Kobe. You know what I mean? I don't want that, and I get it, but I just don't feel right doing it. I have to have a reason before it. If I made something Lakers colors, I'd make like 12 and give those out for free on my own dime, just because of how much Kobe meant to us. But I wrote down the list and I crossed out the ones and I thought about the reason why. Even though I wrote down winners, and I wrote down some winners, a lot of winners who won back to back. 200 episodes to me is a back to back championship. Bulls. I was like, dang, Bulls. I didn't want to do Bulls colors initially because Bulls colors are very cliche. They're very cliche in the sense of I don't want sneakerheads thinking this is a bread hat. This is a hat to wear with your Jordan 4 and your playoff 11. It's like, no, no, no. That's not what I wanted. And a black hat, you have to make it more special. I don't want it to be black and throw a red S on it. I didn't want to do that. And this is nothing against people who do that. It's just I don't operate that way. I think way differently, and I'm a real critical thinker. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with Bulls, but I need to figure out how to make it a better Bulls hat or something that people wouldn't expect. So I was like, man, let's talk about the tags on the top. Growing up, I talk about this all the time. The very first time I really paid attention to Jordan was watching with my dad on the recliner. Bulls beat the Lakers in '91. Okay, I remember that. The best part, I don't matter what sport it was, between like, what do you want to say? I'm gonna say '80s because I'm born in '83. '80 to like '99, maybe. I don't remember when they made the switch. Was when somebody won the championship. It didn't matter what sport it was. If I wasn't fully into the sport, even growing up, hockey, anything what it was, I would still watch that championship game because the best part of a championship game was when they brought out the new T-shirts and the hats immediately, and the players threw them on instantly with the tags on them. I remember that. I remember the tags being on them and the player throwing them on. See, a lot of people don't remember who grew up in the '80s. Some do, some don't. Not everybody. But hats used to just have a little hook on top and hang on the shelf. They used to hang in gas stations, hang in Kmart, Target. They would just hang on the shelves like this. They weren't sitting nicely with multiple sizes in a row at your hat club and stuff like that. Places like that didn't even exist. Hats were like this. They had the tags on it. It was a starter, athletic, whatever the brand was back then. Um, the tags were right there hanging. But man, it was nothing better than seeing somebody win the championship in any sport. Take that new fresh hat with the tags on top and leave the tags on. Woo, and put it on. I don't expect anybody to leave these tags on. Take them off. Or wear them. Whatever you want to do. It's up to you. But, they're there for that reason because 200 episodes means an incredible amount of hard work, to me. So I wanted that feeling. Okay, but I had to do my research. I didn't want a black hat. Black is easy. It's cliche. I don't want a red hat. That's easy. Not yet. Those two colors will come, but not yet. But then I did my homework and I thought about Jordan and the Bulls. And this is back when white hats. Jordan, for the first four championships after the celebration, they used to make a white and a black version of the hats every single year. Jordan always wore the white one. You can go back, look at celebrations. I'm talking about after the game, during the game, he would always wear a white hat. Not I don't mean the parade the next week. I don't mean the press conference a few days later. I mean when it's that clock hit zero and Jordan had his hat, it was white. When Jordan was laying it on the ground crying, winning the first championship without his dad, I guess what, 96 against the Sonics, white hat right next to him on the floor. The very first championship, him hugging that championship trophy, that iconic picture, white hat. His dad next to him wearing the black hat. Pippen sometimes wore the white hat, but everybody else usually wore the black hat. Jordan always had the white hat for the first four championships. He didn't wear the black hat until the last two. That's why that means a lot. That's a winner. This isn't for you to wear. You can, but this isn't for you to pull out your, last shot 14s. It isn't for that. It isn't for the Brett Fours. It isn't for that. This is a representation of a championship, a winning hat. The Bulls are iconic. The Bulls are staples in sports. I mean, they just mean that much to us. The S in the middle, I had to keep it the S, the varsity letter. It's a winner. That means you got your Letterman jacket. You was in sport. I had to leave it the same way. I wanted the black background because I wanted the S to pop. off the white. I will tell everybody I did spray every single hat on the outside and the inside with stain repellent and water repellent because I want them to last as long as possible with you. Hopefully there's still works. Don't test it, but I did spray it on there. So be aware of that. I am cognizant of it, and I want to make sure you guys are taken care of as much as possible by us. So that was the reason for the colors and the hat and everything like that. But I challenge you, go back, find after the game, Jordan wearing a black hat those first four championships. He always had a white one, and that's why I think this one is extremely special and why I wanted to do so. I did write down a few other notes just so I didn't make sure I missed everything. So let's talk about making the hat special. I wanted to make the hat special, and I went back and forth. I had thought, oh my gosh, Bulls, white hat, and I didn't want to do white, like white, white. I did the natural. It's like off white, not Virgil. I didn't know I said that. That was corny, but it's natural. With the black bill. But I wanted to make sure that I made the hat special, and I couldn't think of another way to make it special besides it being white. And I was like, man, 200 championship. I'm like, oh, championship back to back. You gotta throw tags on it. Like, you gotta throw the championship tags on it. This is an homage to the retro. This is an homage to winning a championship. All these new championship hats now, you see the Warriors and Heat and all these teams, Spurs and all them. All their hats had an incredible big sticker across them, or like a bunch of stickers, or something else. It didn't have tags like this. This is classic. I need you to understand that. Some of you weren't alive for it, some of you were. I had to make it special. The first thing I thought of was stickers. Didn't know what. I didn't know why. But I don't know if I have a. Let me see if I have. Oh, this one I just got. So a lot of people would never think. Maybe some would, but to me, one of the most iconic logos in street culture, streetwear, culture is the New Era logo. The gold foil circle that comes on top of the hat. That gold circle, New Era 5950, if it's a fitted or the snapback, whatever, that gold sticker, New Era, is to me, besides the swoosh on a Nike, is the most iconic logo in streetwear culture. Period. The hat. People love to talk about, yo, the sneakers bring the fit together. No, no, no. It's always the hat that brings the fit together. Period. If you don't wear hats, then it's a sneaker. But if you wear hats, it's the hat. The hat is always what brings your entire fit together. To me, period. But the New Era gold foiled sticker that comes on the bill of a hat will always be the most iconic logo, besides the swoosh, in streetwear culture to me. I had to do the same thing. But I didn't want to make a New Era sticker. I didn't want to buy New Era stickers and put it on. I said, I need a sticker. I need something else on it. What needs to go on it? Do I put 200 on it? What makes it special? And I said, dang, I remember, and hats to this day still do, not all, some do, but I remember hats back in the day always had the hologram logo, where it was a baseball logo, if it was NFL, if it was NBA, it always had the hologram logo. So I said, I'm going to mix them. I'm going to mix a circle, just like the New Era one, with hologram, instead of making two stickers, and I'm going to use our logo. So, don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a hologram of George and I's Think This Podcast, Thinker Podcast logo, that, you know, it's essentially George and I right there. Like I said, take it off, don't take it off, put it under the hat, whatever you want to do. But to me, this made it a little bit more special, a little bit more personalized to us. One of the inspirations for the tags was I did the logo, but I do have an authentic Bulls championship hat from '97. This is the actual one from that year. This isn't a remake. This isn't a Mitchell and Ness. This is a logo athletic. All right, these are the tags I talked about. I took inspiration exactly from the tags. I tried to recreate these tags exactly to the T. I did our logo on one. Hopefully you can see that it's clear. And then on the other side, I did it almost the same as the Bulls championship. I tried to do it the best as I could. This says the podcast official podcast studio cap, and it has two gold mics instead of NBA trophies. And on the back, it has 200 episodes. I wanted to make sure that the 200 episodes was somewhere on the hat. This hat means a lot to us. It's incredible to me. I think I think we did a good job based off what a lot of people are saying. I like it. Um, I think it's phenomenal. Um, so that's pretty much it. You know, um, I'm happy to be able to put out something that people like. Some of the feedback I've gotten from people just off seeing the pictures I posted online and seeing the pictures in the hats in the background when I do video, and people have already gotten them in hand already. It's been incredible. And I love it, and I thank you guys for supporting this show. It means an awful lot to me. I want to make sure that we continue doing this no matter what. Um, this show is, I don't like saying my baby, but it is. You know, you have kids. Kids is the greatest thing of my entire life. I mean, there's nothing better than being a father. But essentially, from all the stuff that you should feel proud and pride in, the podcast is something that I take incredible pride in. It takes a lot for. It doesn't take a lot for people to sit around and talk about what they're gonna do, but it feels good when you can sit around and talk about what you're gonna do and then you actually do it. The next hat I'm gonna make a lot more. It'd just be regular, no video, no special papers, no nothing. Maybe a sticker on there. I might leave this hologram sticker. That might become the staple on our hat. I think that's tight. No tags or nothing like that. But so thank you guys very much. I hope this video you watched it all the way through, and I hope this video makes you say, I'm definitely buying one of their hats. They put in work, they understand it, and I think it's important that we unbox our own stuff. A lot of people will unbox Nikes and everything else, and much respect to them, but this is art. The least I can do is unbox my own stuff. I show off sneakers all day and give free promotion to everybody else, but promote yourself. I want to promote myself. Shout out to George. George, that's my pal, man. That's my buddy, and we've done incredible work together, and we're just we're just the best sneaker podcast. Period.